Welcome to the Fulfilled Musicpreneur Podcast. This podcast is for you if you are a Christian artist and you want to grow your listeners, make greater impact, and grow your business. Meet your host, A.B. Ogini, a lifelong singer, pediatrician, recording artist, music business coach, and founder of the Fulfilled Musicpreneur Academy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Monetize Your Music podcast with A.B. Ogini. So, I think we're going into the third week of 2025. It's really exciting. It's still pretty much the start of the year. This is my second podcasting Monday of the year, and I am just so excited. My heart is so full with the possibilities that can happen in 2025. I don't know about you, but I am excited and my heart is full of hope. So, how have you started out this year? What dreams and hopes do you have? I would love to hear from you. Put them in the chat, share them with me. So, today I wanted to talk about 6 questions that have been really helpful for me in planning out the year, planning out what the business is going to look like, what I'm going to focus on, what next steps make sense for me to be focused on in the year. I call it the 6 strategy questions. It's actually pretty much from one of my coaches. So someone called Nick James, who I have followed for a while. And this is one of the things he teaches when he talks to his coaches. And I love these questions because the first 3 questions, which we will be focusing on today, they actually help you look back and reflect on what's past, on the year that has just finished, on the things that you've just finished. So you come into this new year from a place of reflection and a place where you take a moment to really appreciate what you've done, what you've accomplished, to really reflect and celebrate what you've accomplished. I think that is something a lot of us fall down on. I don't know about you. Me, I need to literally take time out to celebrate something because when something happens, I quickly move on to the next thing or I focus on the things that didn't go well. And I never actually take time out to say, hey, this is a big deal. You released a song, you released an album, you went on tour, you did all of these amazing things, and actually taking out time to really reflect, to really look at where you've come from and how far you've come. That can be really empowering, really, really empowering. So please, let's do that today. This 20 minutes, we are going to focus on how last year went for us in your music, in your whatever passion, whatever calling, whatever ministry you think God has called you to. We're going to take our time and just reflect on the amazing things you did because honestly, you did amazing. You did great. You're still here. You haven't given up. You are still putting one foot in front of the other. You are still hopeful. You are still determined. You did well. Okay, so the first question is, what have been your greatest accomplishments? I love this question because first off, you come out celebrating what you did well. Take a moment and just talk about it, think about it, journal about it, celebrate it. say, well done, well done. I did that. I did that. So I'm going to talk through a couple of things I did because this is my moment to celebrate. Okay? Join me. So, number one, I have made good headway in building my brand as a speaker slash musician slash coach slash pediatrician. Like it's been a work of art. Like I remember the photo shoot I did last year and literally going to the photo shoot with my stethoscope and my guitar. It was so cool. Like seriously. There were some shots that I was literally holding my guitar, posing with my guitar, having my stethoscope together. And I'm looking forward to like really rolling out these graphics. You will already have seen some of them on social media. There was one of my songs, the last song I released actually, had my stethoscope around my neck because I'm owning it that I'm actually a pediatrician. I'm doing this as a doctor, as a singer, as a speaker, as a coach. I'm doing it all. I am doing it all. And I'm really excited about it, guys, because it is possible. It is possible. And over the year, you're going to see some of the things that I am doing to really bring it all together. And that's just to let you know that you can create something totally you. You're not like anyone else. You are you. So you can create something unique, something out of the box. Once you dream it, you can do it. Okay. So that's my number one biggest accomplishment that I've done so far. I am working on courses this year that's going to combine my music, my coaching, storytelling, and bringing family, so parents and teenagers interacting together with all of that. Mind blown. It's just going to be so amazing. Really creating this. I think just the fact that in my head it's happened, that is a huge accomplishment. So I'm taking out time to pat myself on the back and celebrate myself. Number two, I am building a team that I'm getting proud of. Like when you start out in the music industry or whatever industry you are, you probably feel a bit lost. You need someone for this, you need someone for this, you need someone for this, especially artists. We try to do everything. And some people manage to do a lot of the things, but it's hard. And you can't really get really good at doing everything. So I love the fact that when I need good graphics, I know one or two people that are my to-go people. They are great at doing it. When I need videos, I know one or two people that these are my people. When I need a amazing media campaign, I know who to go. I have an amazing virtual assistant. I can give you her details if you want. When I need to market my music, when I need to get on playlists, I have playlisters. I have someone who is amazing at getting Christian CCM music out onto playlists. So if I'm like, okay, this song, I need to push it out, I need to promote it. In fact, I'm at the place where I've tested him out and worked with him. So I know that this is what I need to do if I want to double my listeners this year. This is what I need to do. It's just amazing when things begin to come together like that. When okay, I know connections go such a long way. When you know the people that can deliver, it's just so good. You avoid all of that hit and miss and trying out and not trusting, and getting a team together, people that you've tried and tested and you can go to over and over again, is life-saving, time-saving, effort-saving, and is something that I'm really proud of. And that is because I've not been afraid to work with new people, to test people out as well. So team, knowing that I have people here and here and here that do this. And I keep adding, I was on the phone yesterday with someone saying, hey, I'm thinking of possibly exploring weddings. And I wasn't really sure. And he's like, hey, don't worry, I got you. I'm like, amazing. So team building, I'm good. Good job, AB. Good job. How about you? What is the number 2 thing that you've been proud of? One of your biggest accomplishments in the last year. You can share it or you can just journal it, but just take a minute to celebrate yourself. Number 3 thing that I am really proud of is that I am building something I'm proud of. And I am really excited about the journey. I was looking through my stats, and I actually look back on when I first released my first single, and it was May 25th, 2021. And I remember, listening to different coaches talk about famous artists and their music journey and the things their journeys and how they grew and the things they did before they became accomplished and before they became well known. And I remember someone saying, 6 years, guys, you need at least 6 years of just daily grinding, just working, putting your head down and working. Someone said a beautiful analogy actually yesterday on a coaching video I was watching, and he said that so if you're trying to sell a course, for example, and you can relate that to melting an ice cube. So you freeze an ice cube at 100 degrees, right? But it will only melt at about 35 degrees. I think that's right. So if you are in a room and you're trying to melt an ice cube, you have to bring the temperature down. But you could work hard, the hardest you've ever worked, and it could only have gone down by 10 degrees. You're going to have to keep working. You're going to have to keep working. You're going to have to keep working another 10 degrees. And many people give up before it gets to the 35 degrees, right? So the fact that you need to keep going and to just know that that work is paying off. It may feel like nothing is happening and all your efforts are wasted, but actually, no, it's not. It's not. Something is happening. It reminds me of this song that I released, growing. I'm growing through the pain. I'm growing through the tears. I'm growing in the midst of it all. I'm getting stronger through the strain. I'm healing through the strain. I'm growing in the midst of it all. So you may think nothing is happening. So one of these coaches that I work with, her name is Kimberly Olsen, and she keeps saying how in her first 6 years of business, she was broke. She was barely making any money. She was barely getting by. Not much was happening. And I look at the progress I've made. 2021, into my 4th year. So in May 2025, that will be end of 4 years. And I'm like, hey, so that means by 6 years, I really should have begun to see the results of some of the things I'm doing. But does that put things in perspective of the amount of seeds and groundwork and foundation work we need to do in our businesses? Because a lot of it is just studying and getting to know the industry and getting to know how you work and getting to know what lights you up and trying out new things, right? A lot of it is all of that foundational stuff. Because by the time you get to the 6 years or whenever your 35 degrees Celsius is and your ice is about to melt, you'll be ready. But the important thing is to not give up before you get there. So I've been looking at my journey. And I'm like, wow, look at the things I've done. I've released, what, gosh, over 23 songs or something like that. I keep forgetting because I keep adding new songs to it. But released songs, released videos. I am collaborating with new people this year. And I'm just looking forward to all of the possibilities. I'm like, oh, okay, I nearly got to 10,000 listeners last year, nearly. And there's a little bit of up and down going on, right? But hey, now I know that I can easily double that amount this year. In fact, triple it. I know what to do. Now I have a plan. Now, if I need to do certain things, I know what I need to do. And that just excites me. The fact that I'm building this incredible business that I'm proud of. So, those are my 3 biggest accomplishments so far. I wonder, what are yours? Okay, moving to the second question. What have been your biggest lessons learned? Lessons. Okay, so I'm going to share a couple for me. Number one, it's not a straight line to success. Many people start a new venture and they keep thinking, it may be a bit slow, then it should shoot up. And then, yeah, that may happen at the start where maybe you studied, you worked, and then all of a sudden you saw some success. And then you just said, yes, this is it. I've made it. Let's go. And then 6 months later, it feels like you're stuck, or worse. It feels like you've actually fallen off from where you thought you were. And that can be really disheartening. And that could make you feel like you're a failure. And that happened. I think for me, one of the ways that it really happened last year was podcasting. So I started the Harmony and the Fulfilled Musicpreneur podcast, which is this podcast, 2 years ago. And last year, because I had started really trying to grow my brand as someone that brings healing as well through music and through speaking, I was doing the Harmony and Healing episodes and adding them to my music podcast. But I was like, hey, this doesn't make any sense. This is for a completely different group of people, and it needs to be a separate podcast to really show the potential that it has and to really be able to reach the people that it has, because people are going to come to the Monetize Your Music podcast and they're going to say, hey, this is for musicians, this is not really for me. So I separated it out and had 2 podcasts, and that's where the struggle started, because I was like, this is hard. It's like I'm focused on one podcast and I'm neglecting the other. I'm focusing on one, and I'm still struggling a little bit. And I'm like, but it still feels right to do both, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm really passionate about helping artists. And I'm also really passionate about medicine and helping people stay healthy. And doing that through mental health skills, and doing that through talking and mental health skills and conversations that I have with mindset coaches. And I'm like, it's 2 completely different things, but I'm passionate about both of them. And I don't feel that I need to leave one and focus on the other, because both light me up. I just need to keep looking for a way to make both of them work. I haven't figured it out yet. And in fact, most people tell me, you're crazy. You shouldn't have 2 things when you haven't figured out how to grow one really well. But this is the struggle, right? This is what you need to do when you are running your own business. It needs to feel right. It needs to feel, is this what God is calling me to do? Do I have a place to help people in these areas. So in February, I'm going in March, early March, I'm going to Dublin and speaking at a music conference for artists. And it's all about how to, grow as an artist, right? And the very next weekend, I'm in Paris and I'm talking about mental health skills and sharing a couple of my songs and sharing about my work in mental health. And I'm like, 2 weekends apart. If I said no, I'm focusing on one thing, then I'm totally neglecting the other part. And hey, God made me this way, really multifaceted with multiple interests. I don't feel like I'm being called to leave one over the other. So, biggest lessons learned is that sometimes it's not straightforward. Sometimes it's up and down, and that's okay. The important thing is to not give up on finding a solution, right? Um, and you might feel like something is going really well, and then things take a dive. Actually, if you look at graphs of people's success journeys, that's actually how it works. It's literally up and down and up and down and up and down. So actually, it's normal. It's actually normal. Keep going. Don't give up. If you're watching, I would love to hear from you. Post a comment. Let me know if you're enjoying it and share to your friends as well if you are loving it. Okay. What else did I learn? What were some of the other biggest lessons I learned last year? I'd say mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. I read Miracle Morning. One of my clients, one of my coaching clients was talking to me about Miracle Morning and how much she loved the book. And she turned me on to Miracle Morning. So I went and I downloaded it on Audible and I listened to it. And I was so inspired by the book. And I'm one of the people who say I'm not a morning person. And I love that he says it in the book. And he says 90% of the people who are enjoying having their miracle mornings initially claimed that they were not morning people. So I'm like, okay, that excuse is gone out the window. But I still struggle to actually start having miracle mornings. And I joined a coaching program recently. And right out of the park of the gates, she's like, you need to have your miracle morning. I'm like, oh. And her coaching program is a little bit different because you need to literally tick off things before you move to the next part. And no one has actually ever done that for me. And they have coaches that check in on you and they keep going into your tracker and saying, have you checked it off? And one of the early things that you needed to do is to do your miracle morning for 5 days in a row. And I was stuck there for so long. I kept saying, this is impossible. I've been trying to start my miracle mornings for the better part of a year, or for the better half of a year. How am I going to do this in a month? Right. And I met with someone, one of the coaches recently, because she kept checking on me. And I finally said, oh my goodness, let's just get on a call. And I'm talking about how hard it is and how impossible it is to actually start this. And she just keeps listening and listen. And I eventually talk myself into it. Because I was like, this is ridiculous. You need to just get out of your own way, AB. You need to get out of it. You need to actually make this work. Because at the end of the day, it's what you make it. So if for people that don't know, Miracle Morning is a morning routine. So when you wake up in the morning, what you do. I have to go to work early. And in my jobs, I need to be there at 9 a.m. in the morning. So that means if I'm gonna do an hour, I need to wake up really early. And I'm laughing because for people that know me, I'm not a morning person. However, I made a couple of changes and I'm actually becoming really hopeful. And you keep hearing it over and over again. It actually doesn't need to be first in the morning. I want to make it first thing in the morning because I think it's a great way to start your day. But actually, it doesn't need to be first thing in the morning, right? So, what can you do? What can you do to make things work? My lesson learned in all of this is mindset is everything. When you are struggling with something and you're trying to avoid it and you're talking about how much you hate it and how much you don't want to do it, you are getting in your own way. You have a limiting belief that you just need to get rid of. You just need to let go of. Because once you just change that one belief, you will find a way to get it done. Um, it was the exact same way for concerts. So I am a musician who will need to do live events if I want to grow as an artist. I mean, can you imagine a successful artist that doesn't play shows? No, right? Um, but I was limiting myself in that I was saying I can't plan shows. I hate planning shows. I do not know how to plan shows. I can only do shows that other people do. And that limits yourself because one of the ways to make progress is to create your own stages, which is why we don't wait for people to give us a song to produce. We write our own songs, we take it to a producer, we produce it and we release it. That is the music business of today. We don't wait to get signed. We do it ourselves. It's the same way. You will need to do your own shows, you will need to create your own events. And me saying that, oh, I wasn't good at it, was me getting in my own way. So I attended events last year and I kept watching how it was done, and something struck me. The people who were doing such amazing events, where you knew the experience you were going to get when you went in, they did it over and over and over again. So, do you think that the experience of their last conference was what happened at the first conference? No. This is a learned skill. They had learned over and over, and they had done it over and over, and they had mastered it and perfected it and improved on it. And I was like, if I ever really want to get where I'm able to confidently plan and execute events that are amazing, then I'm just going to have to get used to doing it. So, that being said, mindset is everything. If you're struggling with something, work on your mindsets. That is the number 2 biggest lesson I've learned. Now, moving on to number 3, the third question is, what are your greatest strengths? Third of 6 questions. That's going to be the last question we'll do today. And we'll move on to the last 3 questions on the next podcast episode. So, what are your greatest strengths? So, do you want to look back over the year and think about what your greatest strengths were? I'll talk about some of mine. I'm going to say this. I am a hard worker. I'm not afraid to work. I'm not afraid to stay late, to have late nights. I'm not afraid to work on weekends. I'm always working. Even when I'm trying to watch TV, I will mostly have a laptop around me or be on my phone doing some sort of work, which is not really the best way to work at all. But that's just trying to say that I'm always working, because my side job, at the minute it's my side job, right, is done out of my normal working hours. Right? This is what happens when you're an entrepreneur and you're starting something from scratch and you don't really have a team. So I think that's an asset. The fact that I'm not afraid to do the work. I'm not afraid to do courses, to know that pretty much every trip back and forth to work, I am listening to a course, listening to a coaching. Um, um, I'm constantly learning new skills, not being afraid. Actually, it excites me, which is another really huge asset. So that is a big strength. Number two, I'm resourceful. The amount of times that people are like, how are you doing what you're doing? I'm like, I find a way. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to find a way to do it. That is one of my biggest strengths, because sometimes it's not easy. And I'm like, God, I really don't know how this is going to happen. Where is the money going to come from? But I'm happy to just say, I'm counting on you, God. You provided in the past, you're going to provide now. That is a big asset. Number three is I'm not afraid to fail. When I decided I was going to start planning my own events, oh my goodness, it was scary. It actually still is scary, and I'm probably still not doing the best job. But hey, now I'm like, I'm going to work at it till I get it right. I'm going to learn what I need to learn. And I'm beginning to learn things already. And I'm beginning to know you never plan it alone. You always work in a group. And I'm asking people, hey, how do you plan events? What do you use? Do you use tools? And people are already telling me, hey, use ChatGPT. People are telling me, use templates, use this, use it, because I'm committed to learning the skill. Not being afraid to fail it can be scary, but it's an asset. It's a strength. So what are your greatest strengths? I hope this 30 minutes with me has been beautiful for you and helpful for you, to help you reflect on your past year. Next week, we are going to talk about the strategic questions that you need to answer and journal about, to look forward into 2025, to set yourself up for the best year ahead. So let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you found really helpful, what you found really inspiring, what you found really, really helpful for you. Have a lovely rest of the week, and I will see you on the next episode of the Monetize Your Music podcast. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Fulfilled Musicpreneur podcast. Make sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Also, if you haven't, download a free copy of AB's ebook, 7 Days to Living Fearless, by clicking the link below. See you next time for another episode of the Fulfilled Musicpreneur podcast.